Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Imperial Diecast, and today I'll be reviewing the C6 Corvette in 1/24 scale by Motormax. I bought this car more than a decade ago, around 3 months after I first started collecting cars, and back then I was only buying 1/24s, and this model was part of the first big purchase I made of like 8 1/24 cars as a Christmas gift to myself in December 2015. I think I got it from Amazon. I remember as I was browsing the seller's listings, I saw a bunch of 1/24 cars I had never seen before, and this was one of them. So this is what the box looks like. As you can see, it says 2005 Corvette C6, Motormax Diecast Collection, 1/24 scale, age 3 and up, GT Racing. Then over here we have a cutout to see the back of the car, and here another one to see the front. And then on the back, we don't really have much else going on except for some labels here. Now at the bottom, we have some logos and licenses. And that's about it. So let's unbox this. I think I paid like 15 euros for this back in the day, so here it is.
You ready? Let's go! Yeah! For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, yo. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. He doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat or the mic. He feels so unlike everybody else, alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know him, but fuck him, he knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise, making a story, making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, Tox picking it up. Let's go.
Who the hell is he anyway? He never really talks much, never concerned with status, but still even in starstruck. Humble through opportunities given despite the fact.
Back in 2015, there weren't a lot of 1/24 cars available in racing liveries. It was mostly just stock colors, and even all these years later, this is still a very cool livery. And the Corvette C6 isn't a particularly pretty car. It was made from 2005 to 2013, and it's quite similar in dimensions to the C5, with the only real exterior difference being the fixed headlights inspired by the Ferrari 360 compared to the pop-up headlamps the C5 had. I actually prefer the C5, or the redesign this platform got in the form of the C7 Stingray. But in this livery, I think the C6 looks really good. The paint quality on this model is unfortunately not that good. The plastic strap that was holding the hood in place for more than a decade left some marks on the black stripes, and when I tried to rub off the adhesive marks with my thumb, the black paint started to come off, exposing the yellow underneath, so I had to cover it up using a black Sharpie. But from most angles, you can't see it. I also used the marker to correct some yellow around the door, and even the wheels on this model weren't cut cleanly from the sprue. The spokes of the rims had some extra bits of chrome stuck to them. But at the end of the day, it is a Motormax 1/24, so I'm happy it looks this good in the first place. Now, I don't think that there was a real car with this livery. I think the livery is loosely based off of this livery, which is on a C6R, which participated in Le Mans and FIA GT championships. But this model is not the C6R because it lacks the NACA ducts on the back, and its exhausts are not on the sides. It's not even the Z06, which has side air intakes in front of the rear wheels, but just a regular C6 in a GT racing inspired livery. The Z06 also had an air scoop at the front, and the ZR1 had a more pronounced hood. Maisto also made the C6 Corvette in 124, but it's the Z06 GT1 Championship Edition released in 2009, and at least that's based off the livery of a real car. The closest real-life version to this Motormax livery only had a single black stripe on the hood. So taking a look at the front of the 124 scale C6 Corvette, you can see that the front looks pretty decent. I think Motormax did a fairly solid job on these headlights because they've got a black trim around them, and you can see the 3 individual xenon bulbs. They do have pegs in the upper corners, but it's not too obvious. We've got the Corvette flags in the middle, which look pretty good. And then, of course, we have here the beginning of the 2 black stripes, which travel along the entire hood scoop and then onto the roof, past the Corvette sunstrip. And over here at the front, we also have 2 fog lamps with horrible pegs in the middle, and the left one is sort of falling apart. It's not even mounted properly on this Motormax. And then we have the air scoop, or the air intake at the front grille, if you will. And I had to clean up some of the extra yellow metal flaking, that sort of, or like sprue residue that was stuck there. But at least it looks okay now. We also have turn signals up here, and then red ones back here. Now, while we're at the front, we might as well take a look at the hood, because it opens on this model, and it's a clamshell hood. So it opens up like this, which is pretty cool. So now we can take a look at the engine. Now, the stock Corvette C6 engine is an LS2. It's a naturally aspirated 6-liter V8 with 400 horsepower, managing 0 to 60 mph in 4 seconds. It's really hard to see, but it does say Corvette on both sides in red lettering. So that's nice that Motormax added that kind of detail on a 124. 2008 onward, this was replaced with the LS3 that had 30 more horsepower. Otherwise, everything was unpainted, so I did highlight the intake manifold in silver, along with some of the nuts and bolts you see around the engine, as well as that windshield washer fluid container there. It's all just one piece, but when you sort of paint the details a little bit, it begins to look like the real thing. And here's a comparison of the real Corvette C6's engine. So yeah. And here's a look at the side of the 124 scale Motormax Corvette C6. And you can see it looks pretty much like the real car. The stance is nice. It's not too high or anything like that. We've got the GT Racing on the fender here, as well as a fender vent, and Corvette 9 written on the door. Now, if you take a closer look at the wheels, you can see that these are your typical 124 Motormax quality wheels. In fact, there's like a little bit of a silver circle in between the spokes to represent the disc that's directly mounted on the wheels, but the shape isn't even perfectly round, and it just doesn't have a lot of details. I like the fact that the spokes are in chrome, though, because I think they look more pronounced this way compared to being in matte silver. No calipers, unfortunately. And taking a look at the back of the 124 scale C6 Corvette, you can see that this is your typical Corvette with the 4 iconic tail lamps. Unfortunately, there's a big black peg in each and every one of them. But we do get a black license plate saying 2005 Chevrolet Corvette, and the Corvette logo at the back as well, and a third brake light. It also says Corvette here underneath the right pair of lights. And I painted the exhaust in silver because it was completely unpainted. I could have also painted the reverse lights here in red, but I forgot. Moving up, you can see that we have the Corvette typical giant rear windshield, and this whole panel would lift up on the real car. Unfortunately, on the model, this does not open. But yeah. And now let's take a look at the interior of this 124 Motormax. And let's start with the door card. And you can see there's not much detail here. I did paint a little bit of silver here for the door lock and the door opener, as well as some silver around the air vent and a silver trim for the center console there, which does have some buttons modeled onto it, but none of them are painted. So that's your typical 124 Motormax right there. That's the Tremec T56 manual transmission right there. We've got the e-brake or handbrake. And here's a look at the seats. You do get some texture for the seat backs, but no logos on the headrests or anything like that. And you can see there's a little bit of space behind the seats for your luggage and such. We get a rear view mirror, but that's about it. There's not much else in terms of detail. Just a quick look here at the front, the dashboard. You can see there's a air vent, and that's about it. And taking a look at the driver's side of the C6 Corvette, you can see that we have here a steering wheel, but it doesn't have any Corvette logos on it. We have floor pedals that I guess I could have painted in silver. I think you can see them right now. The instrument panel is there. You can see it is readable. So they did put the sticker, but otherwise there's really not much detail to be expected on a 124 Motormax. Another look at the door card right there with some speakers. But yeah, not much else in terms of details. Anyhow. Now, interestingly, even though this being a 124 Motormax, we get full front steering, and the steering wheel also corresponds to it, so that's pretty cool. And taking a look at the bottom of the car, you can see I once again painted some of the details here. It says Motormax, 2005 Corvette, used under license, made in China, number 73,270, scale 124. I painted the exhaust system basically in silver, and you can see the mufflers here and the quad exhausts, so that makes it look a little bit better. We've got some transmission detail here as well, but nothing to write home about. And that's about it. I mainly like this car for the livery. So, I hope you guys liked my review of the 124 scale C6 Corvette by Motormax. I think it's a good looking C6, especially because in 124 it's really hard to find a good looking C6. And I'm glad to have it in my Corvette collection. If you want to check out more reviews like this, you'll find them over here. And take care, have a wonderful day. This is Imperial Diecast, signing out.